I'm Domingo, store director from the Menlo Park Safeway. Are you ready for a road trip? You can save on gas by shopping at Safeway. It's easy. Shop at Safeway and earn gas reward points. Then save up to 20 cents per gallon at participating Chevron or Texaco stations, or up to $1 per gallon at Safeway stations. That's right, up to $1 per gallon, just for shopping with us. Redeem your rewards at participating Chevron, Texaco, and Safeway gas stations. Limited 25 gallons in single fill. Other restrictions and exclusions apply. Visit store or Safeway.com for details. This is Domingo from the Menlo Park Safeway, and we'll see you soon.
The used car sale is on at Meda Honda. Meda Honda has a great selection, including over 75 Hondas and Acuras, all with drastic Meda Honda discounts. See all the savings at MedaHonda.com. The huge $72 sale on now at Meda Honda. Better hurry.
Every day someone comes up to me and says, Amy, how amazing is Xfinity Internet? And I always say, guys, I could go on and on about how it gives you more than just fast speeds for all your work, school, and everything from home needs, but I have places to be. I'd also mention you can save up to $400 a year on wireless when you add Xfinity Mobile and get nationwide 5G at no extra cost. But I gotta run. I have a thing. Really, it happens all the time. Can your internet do that?
Get started with Xfinity Internet for $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year agreement and get a special offer of $100 back when you sign up online. Plus, save up to $400 a year on wireless when you add Xfinity Mobile. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 9/21/21. Restrictions apply. New Performance Starter Plus Internet customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. After term, regular rates apply. Compares pricing of top carriers. Xfinity Internet required.
At Dignity Health, we know that maternity is full of milestones. Like the first time you hear your baby's heartbeat, or feel them move, or see their face on an ultrasound. Through all of it, our maternity team is here to support and guide you. Because of all the firsts you'll experience during your pregnancy, the moment you say your first hello is the one we love the most. Visit dignityhealth.org/Sacramento Women to learn more. Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
At In-N-Out, our hamburgers are made with the highest quality ingredients. Made fresh and by hand. Made with a smile to put a smile on your face. Made for special occasions or no occasion at all. Made with gratitude for every customer we get to serve. Most of all, every hamburger, cheeseburger, and double-double is made to order just for you.
Boost and Cricket charge more. Just $25 a month gets you unlimited 5G and a free 5G smartphone. That's half the price of Boost and Cricket's top plans. So ditch your overpriced connections and switch to Metro, the leader in prepaid. Experience 5G speed at no extra cost and step up big time with the big 5G upgrade. Get 1 line of unlimited 5G smartphone data plus a free Samsung Galaxy 5G when you trade in. All with the power of the T-Mobile 5G network. Rule your day with 5G only at Metro.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. It's Charlton at Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And a lot of good old boys all over the country. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond, in London, England, as well as Paris, France, of course. We love you in Canada and Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys down south, in the land of the free and the home of the brave and the beautiful. Today, I believe, is September the 16th, because I got my COVID vaccine. I think it may be a little bit loopy. It's all fair and love and war. I want to say today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, just tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars also all around the world, covered by 17 different platforms. I feel like I'm Prince. I got so many platforms all over the universe. You can find us on #1, Google Podcast, #2, Alexa, #3, Spotify, #4, Spreaker Podcast. You can find us on #5, Apple Podcast, #6, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can find us on #7, Castbox Podcast, #8, Deezer Podcast, #9, Podcast Addict. You try doing it without catching your breath like I'm doing. It's all fair and love and war. You can also find Big C Sports Podcast on Podchaser, #11, Gio Saban out of London, England. #12, Podtail Podcast for Big C Sports Podcast. You can also find Big C Sports Podcast on number 13, Podcast Addict. Number 14, Hubhopper Podcast. That sounds like a rodeo, but it's all fair and level war. You can find Big C Sports Podcast on Stitcher Podcast. You can find Big C Sports Podcast on Radio Line Podcast, and also on Luminary Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast. Also, just say play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from all of our sponsors. You will hear welcome to the show. I will introduce myself as the Sports Universe, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can also find us on 4 TV platforms. Number 1, Xfinity Comcast TV. Number 2, Apple Podcast. Number 3, Roku TV. And number 4, Amazon Fire TV. And a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. And I really do appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports. Trying a little bit different of a sound system today. Some good old boys said, hey, Charlton, I got a good sound system for you. So I'm going to try their platform today. If I don't like it, I'll say I'll be back. For my money back off Merit in Leaven War. I also want to say I love paying homage to my family legacy. When I talk about Mamo, my great-grandmother, and also Pop, my great-grandfather. Muddeer, my grandmother, Hezekiah, my grandfather. Also, my beautiful mother, Bernice. I love paying homage to her. She started a Head Start program in Central California. Very intelligent, loving, really appreciate that. Also helped win an all-star baseball game, one league all-stars with my mother as the coach. So thank you for that, Mama. And then also my father, a former Air Force fighter pilot and chief mechanic, all fair and level work, helping make sure that airplanes fly and don't fall out of the sky. And then on my mother's side, and then my father's side, of course, talked about my father, former Air Force pilot and chief mechanic. And then my grandfather, Albert Curry, who owns service stations in Oakland, California. Give it up for him. And my grandmother, Alberta Curry, who made sure that he didn't, do too many things. That he had to be home sometime. Sometimes you gotta come home. She'll leave the light on for him. If that thing says to you also, Big C Sports Podcast. SB nominated Big C Sports Podcast. As I always say, welcome to the show. It's all fair and level war. Big C Sports Podcast. SB nominated Big C Sports Podcast. No scripts, no teleprompter, no producer in my ear, and no one doing anything in my ear but trying to clean some earwax out. I could really use more of that. I think I just gotta live with it. Kind of like a freckle. You gotta live with freckles. Freckles can be pretty, depending on how many you got on your eyeball. That's all fair. Doctor's like, what is that on your eyeball? It's just a freckle. That's all fair. Didn't let it work. I told you I got my COVID second vaccine today and it made me a little bit loopy. But I always honor God. I thank my son Malcolm for sending me stats. Sent me some stats this morning. And then Daisy at times in the past would help me set up some sporting events. Big C also in the past. Really appreciate them. I say reason why SB nominated. Number 1, I produce. Number 2, I direct the topics. Number 3, I broadcast all the shows. Number 4, I do all the sound effects. Number 5, I do the commercial. Here's Johnny. And then number 6, I provide all the stats. You'll see a lot of stats that I talk about on the Big C Sports Podcast. I do the storytelling. Guess who's coming to dinner? It's all fair in level war. What's all this exotic beef? And then I do the play-by-play. Touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. All the Raider fans know about that in the Super Bowl when they jumped all over the Minnesota Vikings. And then I upload to 17 podcast applications and then 4 TV applications. And that's one black man. I never missed a show since. It was September 12th, 2015, starting Big C Sports Podcast. I also am the only sports show in the universe that pays homage to God. Not just when I want something, but just to praise God. I say Genesis 13:15, God said, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. Now that's worth a standing ovation. You can clap for that. Also, I love another great verse. It's the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2. It says, we have not because we ask not. That's also worth a standing ovation. If you want something, just ask. It's either yes or no. I love asking, and I will always do that on Big C Sports Podcast. I also want to pay homage to our Veterans Crisis Hotline. Our military veterans do so much for our country. If they need help, you got to reach out and help them. All you got to do is reach out and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And you can definitely get some help for our veterans and their loved ones also are very happy to be affiliated with Valley, Home's weekly TV on Dish TV, DirecTV, AT&T Uverse, TV of the first place San Francisco Giants, at least for now. They're holding on and holding off the Dodgers, so we'll see what happens as they chase down in the National League West. That channel, I'm telling you, there's a championship on the brewing in the National League West, and may just be in the NLCS. It's all fair and love and war. When you reach out to them, just tell them that Charlton wants World Series tickets. I've been saying that for a long time, and I think I'm going to get them. If I don't get them, in fact, I'm going to get them. The land that thou seest will I give you. You have not because you ask not. I'm getting the World Series tickets for the San Francisco Giants in the city by the bay. When you reach out to them, just tell them Big C sent you. Our goal is simple. Want to help 10,000 real estate agents and brokers put property listings on TV, just like State Farm does it, McDonald's does it, car dealerships are doing it, Watch TV, and real estate work for you. And I'm also saying for people who want to get a home loan, you got the Big C team. We have the sports dating app. Yeah, we got that for Super Draft. Also, I have a real estate dating app because houses get lonely too. No more lonely houses. Isn't it nice when a house swipes left and it swipes right, and then you find someone that wants to actually buy you? To buy you or refinance it, it's all fair and love and war. If you ever want to lower that mortgage note or see if you qualify for a loan, 800-772-8624, or go to bigcsports.pacwm.com. Most of our loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage or United Wholesale Mortgage, the number 1 or 2 lenders in the country on the wholesale side. All fair and love and war. I also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and say, play Big C Sports Podcast. No, you can do that too. Play Big C Sports Podcast. You'll see us on 17 different podcast applications. Also, today's show is sponsored by your Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% on your game. It's all fair and love and war. And you sports fans, watch the big game. When you eat the Big C burger, it's a tasty burger. And it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? There's a lot of exotic meats. Rumor has it tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hands. And I verified it. Guaranteed. Almost everything tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hands, except for dirty hands. If that makes sense to you. Somebody got to wash some young kids' hands. I see them putting snot in the mouth and everything else. People are so concerned about making sure you wash your hands so you don't get germs. And then kids will let snot run down the nose, put it right in the mouth. It don't even matter. Tell a kid that don't taste good. They must know something we don't know. Yeah, like you haven't done it. What's all this exotic meat? Again, it goes great with Budweiser Zero. I want to say thank you to Super Draft Pro, Fantasy Sports by Caesars Entertainment. You can clap for that. It's all fair and love and war. The all-purpose website, superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports. Featured in Yahoo Sports, Sports Illustrated, Associated Press, RotoWire, and Sportico. All you got to do is subscribe to the exclusive fantasy games and sports betting experiences with Super Draft Pro, the official partner of Caesars Entertainment. Go to superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports. All fair and love and war. Man, try saying that introduction several times. It's all fair and love and war. I really do appreciate Big C Sports Podcast. Going to talk about some baseball. Talking baseball. The Giants by the Bay. Also going to have some football. We got football kicking off tonight. We have the Washington football team and the New York Giants. It's a game a lot of people are looking forward to. A couple of injuries in that game, but we'll touch on that too coming up. Going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. Got some college football and NFL football as well as Major League Baseball coming up. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we're back from the Big C Timeout, also known as the Big C Pause. You can follow Big C Sports on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. Also 4 TV applications all over the United States, all for 11 war. I hope that everybody can enjoy this happy Thursday because that means Friday's next. If that makes sense to you. Every day's like Friday on Big C Sports Podcast. Again, I'm trying out a new podcast platform. Some good old boys sold me some equipment, but they didn't give me a receipt. That might have been a clue. So we'll see how it sounds good. I don't know. It's just like having your first date. You don't know how good it's going to go. But if it's good, you'll say, I'll be back. If it's not good, you say, I want my money back, if that makes sense to you. And that would be illegal, wouldn't it? Unless you're in Amsterdam or certain places in Nevada. You don't want to ask for your money back after a date goes bad. Fair and love and war, man. Tonight, NFL football kicked off again in Landover, Maryland at FedEx Field. I want to talk about the Big C Sports app. It's a superprodraft.com/Big C Sports. Yeah, you can clap for that. NFL excitement in week 1 had its fair share of excitement. Quite the opening slate for the underdog at Caesars Sportsbook. And Caesars sponsors the superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports. When you think about the sports book, the underdogs went 9-7 outright and were 12-4 against the spread. That's pretty good. And the New York Giants and Washington football team said they already kicked off tonight in week 2 of the NFL for Thursday night football. We love Thursday night football. Give it up. Give it up. Yeah, go ahead, give it up, guys. Think about the trend if it carries over. Week 2 has a lot of ups and downs. We'll divide the line throughout the week and take a look at some of the players and the props. Of course, I don't get too much out of my prop betting because I want to keep on my fingers. But tonight's game's already kicked off for September 16th on a beautiful Thursday. It was 8:20 p.m. kickoff East Coast time at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. You can see it on the NFL Network, streaming on Fubo TV, and also you can try for free there. You also have the CBS Sports app, also a Big C Sports podcast is carrying some of the talk of what happened in the game. Now the odds had Washington at -3.5. The over-under is 40.5. I'm 40. I'm a man. Think about what's happening in this game, though. This number opened with Washington -4. It's fallen since. On Monday, it dipped down to Washington 3.5 points. As low as 3 on Wednesday. What's going on that the people in Vegas know about that we don't know about? But it's since ticked up half a point, giving Ron Rivera's club a plus field goal advantage. At home, their defense is legit. Offense, I'm not so sure. Rivera should bring in Cam Newton. It's amazing what people can say as far as, I don't get along with somebody for whatever they said about you or whatever you said to them. Guys in football can fight, have disagreements, and then they shake hands. And all's fair in love and war. But think about this pick from Caesars when it's superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports. When you think about it, if football's calling a name, you got to answer the call. Unless it's a bill collector, you don't want to answer those calls. But think about it, the Giants with plus 3.5. I like Washington to win this game, but it's going to be by a field goal when you think about it. Meaning that I think if you have to work out to deal with that point spread at 3.5, it's been up and down. If it falls back down to -3, New York is 8-5 against the spread. People think against the spread, I thought I just had to get more points to win. You make money by covering against the spread. That's why sometimes you'll see guys take a knee, or you'll see guys go for it on 4th and 1 at the 1 or 4th and goal at the 1 yard line, and they're up by 14 points. Why not just take a knee? You'll see things. Or in the Raiders game versus Baltimore last week, you'll see nobody cover in overtime the deep pass. Carr back to pass, throws downfield, he's wide open. How often that'll happen? Point spread, guys. How was he wide open? He hadn't been that wide open at the airport. How'd he get wide open in the overtime game? There's nobody back deep. Carr throws downfield, touchdown! Raiders! There were no safeties deep. When's the last time you heard that happen? Prop betting, all fair, love and war. But think about this, guys. When you think about it, the Giants 8-5 against the spread when they're at least a 3-point underdog. Now, Joe Judge led the Giants team also 3-0 against the spread, fewer than 6 days rest. Daniel Jones also has historically played well against Washington. He competes about 68% of his passes against the division rival with 8 touchdowns! 8 touchdown Giants! Keep that in mind tonight. The point spread, they know what they're talking about, guys. Now, the road team is 5-1 against the spread in the last 6 meetings. The over-under, what did we tell you? 3.5. This game, according to Vegas people, is going to be a field goal game. Don't expect a 2-touchdown performance or someone going into overtime like the Raiders against Baltimore and the Raiders winning with a deep pass from McCord. Nobody who's covering the receiver. Come on, guys. Some things you just got to watch with your own 2 eyes. Now, the over-under total means that it's taking a tumble for the NFC East in head-to-head competition. It opened at 41 40.5, the over-under. It dropped the full point to 40.5. And it's currently the lowest total in the Week 2 slate. That's a clue for you sports bettors. Some people don't understand that. So the pick under 40.5, the under seems like the smartest play here. Again, it's not about who wins the game. It's do they cover the spread, the over-under. What they're telling you is we're not going to see a 21-24 game. We're not going to see a 35-21 game. They're expecting similar to be in the 2017. That makes sense to you? 2017, the 3.5-point spread? It's all fair and level. You'll see some things that make that work out. So even if it's low, both offenses have not shown much explosiveness. It's amazing. Oh, Cam. Why won't Ron Rivera bring Cam Newton in just to learn the system? He's the only quarterback to ever take Coach Ron Rivera to a Super Bowl. He's a former league MVP. He's in the playoffs more times than not. Every year of his 10 years in Carolina, he threw for over 4,000 yards 8 times. And Ron Rivera doesn't want that. But Fitzpatrick keeps getting chances even though he's banged up now. So Washington brings on Taylor Heineke, right? And the Giants still looking at Saquon Barkley, trying to get him back on the field. Meanwhile, Washington's defense is stout to really limit New York's scoring ability if they can get enough pressure on them. So Daniel Jones completes about 59% of his passes, 267 yards, 1 touchdown. Averages about 7 yards per attempt. I'm saying if you can just force good defensive pressure on Washington, they're not going to score a lot of points. So the Giants have a chance, even though they're the underdog. But Saquon Barkley, that's a big hitch in their giddy-up with that situation. So the projections to be a pretty low-scoring game, which makes me lean toward the under, are Jones' passing total yards of 237 a game. While he was able to pass for 267 yards last week, Jones went over his passing yards total just 4 times in 16 games last season. So looking for a Jones prop that has been the potential to go over. It's like a 20.5 rushing yards mark. He logged 27 last week and had 6 carries versus Denver. He could be on the run again against this Washington team because their defense is legit. They're nasty. But when you think about it, he could be on the run again. It's going to happen if they have a solid pass rush, and they should. So when you look at Taylor Heineke, what do you think about him? 73% pass completion. He only threw for 122 yards. That's not good in the NFL. 1 touchdown. We're going with the under on the passing prop of 250. While his playing career is admittedly a small sample size, the only 2 times he's crossed the total, he dropped back to pass 53 and 44 times. That level of passing opportunity simply won't be there for him tonight. So all the prop guys, everybody has their own opinion about this game. I would love to see, again, Ron Rivera, if they win tonight, even if they lose, you got a quarterback that's not going to get you a lot of yards passing. It's just an opinion. If you want to win, you got to find a way to bring in some guys that want to win and that give you a run-pass option. You have that in Cam. Ooh, Cam. I think it could really rejuvenate their offense. We'll see what happens. But that's Big C's thoughts on the Washington football team at home at FedEx Field versus the New York Giants. Going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk more about some sports in the sports universe. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C timeout, also known as the Big C pause. You can follow Big C Sports on 17 podcast applications and 4 TV applications. Really appreciate that. It's all fair and level war. I'm going to take the time to look at the NFL quarterback rankings, how all 32 quarterbacks stacked up in a big quick takeaway. I'm thinking about just my opinion. I have my own thoughts, and everybody has theirs. But I look at the 2021 season so far. After week 1, of course, week 2 starting tonight in Washington, taking on the New York Giants. But I'm going to go with touchdown Patrick Mahomes, and then also touchdown Russell Wilson. They picked up where they left off in wins. And then Matthew Stafford, he shined for his new team. Touchdown Jameis Winston, had a strong showing in his first start for the Saints. And, you know, Drew Brees has decided to go into the media, and he's doing his thing in the media. And then touchdown Kyler Murray. He showed some fans he has still some hitch in his giddy-up, has some incredible plays against the Tennessee Titans. And that was just last week. We'll see what happens this week. There's some oddities, too. When you look at the total QBR of 31 quarterbacks, touchdown Teddy Bridgewater ranks first, and touchdown Aaron Rodgers ranks last. Isn't that amazing? The guy who made such a fuss about if he's going to come back or not and saying that he loves love. And who doesn't love love? What's love got to do? I can tell the Turner, I didn't like love. It's all fair and love and war. But I'm going to look at some of the quarterback performances. Everybody has their own opinion. And just give you my thoughts on Big C Sports Podcast. The biggest takeaways, in my opinion, from week 1 is Green Bay Packers touchdown Aaron Rodgers. Is still up to, I think after a dismal performance, he was 15 of 28, 133 yards. That's not good for a touchdown Aaron Rodgers. He had 0 touchdowns, and he had 2 interceptions. Come on, this is touchdown Aaron Rodgers. We got to get more out of touchdown Aaron Rodgers. But again, he didn't have any preseason play, and he was out golfing or skiing or whatever he was doing in the summertime. What can you ski in the summertime? Jet skiing. Come on, guys. He's a West Coast guy. Jet skiing, not snow skiing in the summer. All fair and love and war. But if you think about it, he's a last year's league MVP. He's a reigning MVP. Didn't have a good season in the offseason because he didn't show up. You can be the best in the universe. If you don't show up, then you may not be the best in the universe. After all of that makes sense to you. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Jalen Hurts addition, because they really were not committal to him. It's like that dating TV shows where one guy gets to date 20 women, or is it 50 women? And the ones that don't get picked, they say, I really loved him. I thought he was into me. He was tongue kissing and lick locking. He did that with 50 other women too. All friend, love, and war. But touchdown Jalen Hurts, one of the biggest surprises of the opening week. And a big part of the credit should go to how great his tackles Lane Johnson and Jordan Mattia did. They gave Hurts a lot of time in the pocket to operate. And they're not missing Carson Wentz at all. You think about what he did. That good boy came in and helped them win a game on the road, beating Matt Ryan in Atlanta. Arthur Blank loves giving out money. $150 million, they score 6 points. And they won't bring Cam Newton. Cam, what would happen if the Falcons signed Cam Newton? The Atlanta Falcons fans would go crazy. Like Prince, let's go crazy. Blame it on my COVID shot, okay? I told you I had my second COVID shot today. It made me a little bit loopy. They said, Charlton, if you notice anything different, make sure you tell your doctor. So they had me sit down for 15 minutes. They said, Charlton, did you notice anything different? I said, no, not at all. Why? Why you ask me? They said, why are you talking so loud? I said, what do you mean loud? Ain't nothing different about me. I'm the same. It's all fair and love and war. I don't know what they put that vaccine, but COVID has no chance. The game, when you think about it, for a touchdown, Jameis Winston, New Orleans Saints, I thought he played with a lot of poise. He played with accuracy. He was outstanding. Obviously, he got his eyes fixed. It helps everybody get their eyes fixed. If you can do what he did at a total QBR of 92.5, I'm excited to see touchdown Jameis Winston get a chance, because a lot of people, they were just dogging him. They were saying he couldn't see straight. He threw 30 interceptions down in Tampa. You try throwing with your eyes crossed and see if you connect passes in the NFL. I like touchdown Jameis Winston. Kyler Murray, touchdown Kyler Murray for the Arizona Cardinals. That good old boy did his thing. When you think about throwing for 4 touchdown passes, he averaged 9 yards per attempt. In his exceptional start to the season, everybody picked them to be the bottom of the NFC West, and they still may finish there. Seattle's loaded. San Francisco's loaded. The Rams are loaded. Arizona's good, though. They beat down Tennessee because they brought their own Gatorade. I told them, bring your own Gatorade, and they did. It's all fair and love and war. When you think about it, he looked more explosive than he did even last year. I think he benefits from another season under Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Murray threw with accuracy. He threw without hesitation. He was running around like Fran Tarkenton from back in the day. Never knew if he was going to run or pass. And when he decided to throw the ball, he had a lot of zip on the ball. Receiver Christian Kirk was targeted 5 times. Had 5 completions. Murray's throw early in the game to A.J. Green. It set the tempo with tremendous velocity. And then you think about Kirk Green and DeAndre Hopkins, who's an absolute superstar, DeAndre Hopkins. It's going to be hard to defend against that team. Especially if Rondale Moore sprinkled into the mix. He's got a great season ahead of him. And you know their defense is legit. They shut down a Tennessee team that had a lot of hope this year that they would challenge for their conference, their division. We'll see what happens. We know Indianapolis got knocked down. Houston's going to be in the abyss, even though they beat Jacksonville. So we'll see what happens with that team. I really like what I saw so far but we'll see how far it carries them. I mean, Tennessee's a good team. We'll see. Imagine if Tennessee wins their division and Arizona comes in last in the NFC West. I'm just saying, I want to bring it to a game that's going to be an amazing game this weekend at SoFi Stadium. A lot of people were concerned the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, touchdown, Dak Prescott, that he was limited in training camp. Remember, they were saying he had a hitch in his giddy up and did not get preseason game action. Neither did Aaron Rodgers. But everybody says you want Aaron Rodgers to have the ball the last 2 minutes of any game. Touchdown Dak Prescott, and Aaron Rodgers didn't have a lot going on in the preseason. But Prescott threw for over 400 yards against Tampa. And then Aaron Rodgers had about 130 yards passing against New Orleans. So I like touchdown Dak Prescott. His outstanding performance, the fact he threw 58 passes, that's too much. Ezekiel Elliott, if he's lost a step, I mean, this might be his last season in Dallas. You don't need a running back that can't get more than 40 yards in a game. It's not Emmitt Smith anymore. Sums up with Zach. I mean, come on. Ezekiel Elliott, I was calling on Ezekiel Elliott to have a breakout year this year, but we'll see. When you think about Taylor Heinicke of Washington, a lot of people expect him to play well. You'll see him on the field tonight, going up against the New York Giants defense. Really effective against Tampa Bay in the playoffs last year. But losing Ryan Fitzpatrick to a hip injury, that really hurts. And not being smart enough to bring in Cam. Not being smart enough to bring in the great Cam Newton. It may bite him in the butt. Speaking of bite, this segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with a lot of exotic meats. Cam Newton, rumor has it, he loves exotic meats. He has exotic dressing. The way he dresses, some people say it's too exotic. But if you don't bring him in, it's like you don't want to even try to win. How do you tell that to your defense that might be one of the top 10 defenses in the NFL? So when you think about it, Fitzpatrick slid down to about 21 if he were healthy. I think Washington signed Cam Newton. There's still 16 more games left. Well, going to be 15 after tonight. Even though I think a lot of people have issues with Cam because of how he's so confident. A lot of people don't like when black men are confident. They think, oh, he's cocky, he's arrogant. They want him to be a yes, ma'am, yes, sir, whatever you say, sir. But at least Cam's honest. Bill Belichick said he's the hardest working player before he cut him. Belichick's not honest. They want Mac Jones. That's why they lost. They had inexperience going against Miami. I would bring in Cam Newton. Because Coach Rivera, if you got a defense like that, and you're not smart enough to bring in a good athlete that gives you a run-pass option, no one says start him. Give him a chance to compete. If you don't make the playoffs this year, the Eagles are good. The Cowboys are good. The Giants are not that good. If you don't get into the playoffs this year, and your players realize that you refuse to bring in a top-flight athlete, they can quit on you. And if they quit on you, you think the ownership, Snyder's going to want you back? I'll be back. I don't think so. Doesn't make any sense. Touchdown Patrick Mahomes. The comeback for the Kansas City Chiefs. We've seen it before. Patrick Mahomes is legit. He has a lot of skills like Cam Newton. I'm not saying, don't get upset, guys. Cam Newton at his best was a lot like touchdown Patrick Mahomes. He could beat you with his arm and beat you with his legs. Cerebral quarterback could read defenses, but he got injured. He had COVID, and a lot of people gave up on him. But he was a starting quarterback until he didn't get his COVID vaccine. And that's why Bill cut him. But he still could have kept him on the team. There's a lot of guys that got the COVID vaccine and they still got COVID-19. It's rampant all over the NFL. So why cut him for that? But touchdown Patrick Mahomes is what Cam Newton was in his NFL MVP season. Why someone doesn't bring Cam in is just dumb. So the Chiefs, for a big reason, had so much success over the last couple of years with touchdown Patrick Mahomes. They have the chemistry, his top two receivers, and then targeting touchdown Tyreek Hill. Touchdown! Tyreek Hill, 50 yards. And then touchdown Travis Kelce. Touchdown! Travis Kelce, 30 yards. And then Mahomes was 17 of 22, 273 yards. That good old boy can throw the ball. And 3 touchdowns. I like him a lot. Before the Big C pause, I'm going to come up on touchdown Russell Wilson for the Seattle Seahawks. This segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all these exotic meats. The exotic meats. And last I heard, a Seahawk is pretty exotic. That makes sense to you. So touchdown, Russell Wilson. He's impressive as always. And when you think about his downfield throws, a lot like touchdown Cam Newton, who nearly beat Seattle in Seattle last year. He nearly outperformed touchdown Russell Wilson. He was stopped at the goal line. And nobody wants that in their offense. That's just dumb. They even tried to give Tim Tebow a chance to come back in the NFL. And Cam Newton's a former MVP? Don't make any sense. But the Seattle Seahawks, with touchdown Russell Wilson, week 1 he was 5 of 7, 159 yards and 3 touchdowns on throws of 15 yards plus downfield. Most quarterbacks average less than 10 yards downfield a pass. I mean, they do a lot of dunk and dink. But this good old boy, teams are going to have to keep the speedy Seattle receivers in front of them if they have any chances at slowing down the Seahawks offense. Cam Newton, Russell Wilson. Russell may have a better arm, but he's not faster than Cam. They're the same type of athletes. Could you imagine somebody saying, we don't want Russell Wilson. He runs around too much. He's too elusive in the pocket. He has too much of an accurate arm downfield. The only thing on Cam is they was knocking him for his downfield accuracy. But most quarterbacks, they don't throw 50-yard downfield on the pass. The average completion for an NFL quarterback is less than 10 yards. So what's this thought about he can't throw 40 yards, 50 yards downfield? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. They're treating him like they treated Colin Kaepernick. And I don't know why. But I don't know why. There's no sun up in the sky. Stormy weather. I forgot who sang that song. Stormy weather. Sign them up. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about more of what happened and Big C's thoughts on the 32 NFL quarterbacks in week 1. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C Timeout, also known as the Big C Pause. You can follow Big C Sports on 17 podcast applications and 4 TV applications. And also, if you look at superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports, Caesars Entertainment, that's the official draft page for Caesars Entertainment. Pay attention to superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports, all fair and level. We're going to get back to the quarterbacks. I'm going to bring you right to New England, where Cam should have been starting. Cam. Rookie New England Patriots quarterback Mac Jones had one of his best weeks throwing the football. He had a 3rd and 6 with just under about 7 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. He hung in there against a strong Miami Dolphins pass rush. He converted a pass to Jacoby Myers. Overall, he was 11 of 16 on 3rd down. Very encouraging start. But you know what they missed with Mac Jones? Not elusive. People say, well, they don't want him to be elusive. That's not true. If he's elusive, you stress the defense, and then your passing game works better. They lost at home. They had 8 guys coming back that didn't play last year. I'm not knocking Mac Jones on his short passing, but that's all he has. If you have Cam Newton, at least you have more of a run-pass option. And you can say turnovers. Both teams had turnovers. But he lost at home to Tua Tagovailoa. Both out of Alabama. Tua only threw for over 200 yards. And that's enough to win in New England? Just my opinion. You're not going to win with a rookie quarterback. All the rookie quarterbacks lost in week 1. Just an opinion, but it's true. I want to take you over to another rookie quarterback. Did not have as much success as people thought they would. The game seemed fast for Jacksonville starter Trevor Lawrence. That's Trevor Lawrence's first regular season loss, I think, since high school. Rumor has it they didn't even lose a game in high school regular season. But it was a disappointing in some of the decision-making that led to 3 interceptions. I mean, he's a rookie. Come on. 3 interceptions on a bad team. His coach, Urban Meyer, came out of TV, and now he's coaching NFL football. He wasn't on the sideline last couple years. Left Ohio State under health problems. Had some issues with his hiring decision. Came under a lot of heat. So think about it. Houston had a zone look that was hard to recognize by Lawrence. But he has a long way to go. But he's going to be okay. Defenses will attack him, and they're going to attack him and attack him. You look at Zach Wilson of the New York Jets, improved, some people say a lot, as the game went on. Had some accuracy in the arm strength in the second half. But think about the concern the Jets have on their offensive line. That unit struggled even before offensive tackle McKay Becton got hurt, also a dislocated kneecap. Wilson, his mobility will help, but the Jets' poor offensive line is going to continue to cause a hitch in the giddy up. We'll just see if he can progress when he's throwing passes off his backside. It's all fair in love and war. I'm going to bring you to the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears in the Windy City, man, they want the crowd. The crowd in Chicago is ready for football. They're ready for Justin Fields. We want Justin. We want Justin. You hear that a lot. He's better over Andy Dalton. And he should be playing. I would still hold him out one more week. People say, why not start him? None of the starting quarterbacks that were first-round picks won. They all lost in week 1. Why would I wait? Because he's a long-term deal. He's not a one-night stand. You don't have to get it now. I'll be back. He'll be back, guys. I know people are restless. They want to throw him into a Bears den, if that makes sense to you. And maybe they'll work him in there. Just work him in there slowly. By week 3, if the Bears are 0-2, start him. By week 3, if the Bears are 1-1, let him wait till week 4. All fair and love and war. But we saw his physical ability with a touchdown run and his skill set as a thrower. He's better. I mean, it's disappointing that he's not playing more. I know people think that. But in the case of the San Francisco 49ers, they need to be patient with Trey Lance, who's a stud. He's a touchdown! Trey Lance! This is what I like with the 49ers. Lance up to the line of scrimmage. We have 4 wideouts, ISAP formation, a 5-man front by the Rams. The snap, Lance rolling to his left, looks downfield, throws to the end zone, and is caught for the touchdown by Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice? Jerry Rice came back to catch touchdown passes for Trey Lance. In your dreams. But could you imagine? Jerry Rice caught touchdown passes from 2 Hall of Famers, Joe Montana and Steve Young. They were both mobile quarterbacks, a lot like Trey Lance. People say, hold on, not so fast, my friend. Joe Montana, the catch play to Dwight Clark, he was near the sideline. Montana up to the line of scrimmage. Dallas in their doomsday defense. The snap, Montana rolling to his right. He's pressured by Ed Tuton Jones. Throws it to the end zone and it's caught by Dwight Clark for the touchdown! Touchdown! Niners! Joe Montana! Dwight Clark! 30 yards! Joe Montana was on the sideline when he threw that pass. He was very mobile. He doesn't get a lot of credit for it. Google the play. And Steve Young, he was like a running back in the backfield. Trey Lance is the same thing. The point is, Steve Young, he waited behind a Hall of Fame quarterback in Joe Montana, and it didn't keep him out of the Hall of Fame. He went on to win another Super Bowl. Touchdown, Steve Young. Lance is the same thing under Jimmy Garoppolo. Same thing, guys. It's not going to hurt him to wait a little bit longer. So Jimmy G played very well, but you can see one man has a lot more talent than Trey Lance, but he still has to be refined. That's just my opinion. He and when you look at Justin Fields, they're similar athletes. It's okay to let them wait until week 4 or 5. Dalton's nowhere near as good as Jimmy G. Jimmy G is 23-8 as a starter. So let Fields come in later in the year if you're going to replace Jimmy G. But if the 49ers, who are a Super Bowl team in my opinion, if Jimmy G gets to week number 10 and the Niners are 8-2, you don't need Lance to come in there and start. That's my opinion. Because he's not going to be better than 8-2 with that Niner team. We're going to see a lot what happens when they go to Philadelphia this week. I'm going to do that preview coming up Saturday on Big C Sports NFL Preview. I just like what the 49ers have. They got the same situation that they had with Joe Montana and Steve Young. You got 2 guys that can play, that can get it done. You don't got to rush them in. Because when they gave Steve Young the chance, they sent Joe Montana to Kansas City. And he got to the AFC Championship game before he got knocked out in Buffalo. All fair and level war. I want to take you also to another thought, too. Why the Miami Dolphins starter Tua Tagovailoa, a lot of people don't like him, even though they went into to Foxborough, Massachusetts, and beat Bill Belichick. I thought Bill Belichick was the reason the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls. Nobody said it was Tom Brady, but I guess you know who it was now. Not only has Tom not lost the game since the midway point last year when they lost at home to the Kansas City Chiefs, they came back and won. How many games has Bill Belichick lost since Tom Brady last lost the game? Google it. All fair and level war. So I really want to see Tua do well, but if they get a chance to upgrade, they will. He made a nice throw to Devontae Parker on the sideline, and at one point showing a glimpse of what he can do when he's at his best. But the lack of mobility showed up in the interception, and I just feel if they can make an improvement, they will. That's just my opinion. If they can make an opinion or make an improvement, they will. But everybody has their own opinion about it. So I love what I see in NFL football. I love a lot of the good old boys giving everything you want on offense. There's a lot of good football played in the NFC West. Everybody won their first game. Also the AFC West. So the best football is played on the West Coast, if that makes sense to you. You can clear for that. You can cheer for that. The West Coast, home of the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? It's all fair in love and war. Get your COVID vaccine shot. It really makes you a little bit loopy. At least the dose they gave me. I said, why is the stuff green? I thought it was clear. But they said, don't worry about it. Just take the shot. You can't argue with someone got a needle in the hand. All fair in love and war. We'll take the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports on 17 podcast applications and 4 TV applications, all fair and level war. I want to touch on some college football. Are you ready for some football? Of course you are. Always ready for football, just like you're ready for deep fried ice cream. You ever have deep fried ice cream? It's all melted. Deep fried ice cream? How y'all pull that off? It was all melted. It was like a milkshake, if that makes sense to you. I paid for it anyway. But I want to get into some college football. And coming up, we're going to have Big C's college football rundown tomorrow. But there's a couple of games I just want to talk about getting you good boys ready for tomorrow. We'll also have Big C Sports High School Friday Night Lights for all you high school football players all over the universe. It's all fair and love and war. The big game in college football over the weekend coming up is number 1 Alabama at number 11 Florida. You think about it, everybody loves the Big C Burger. This game is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? Last I checked, elephant is exotic, and gator is exotic. You figure it out, all fair and love and war. But this game is a lot of reason that both teams are going to play their best football, my opinion. Florida's the type of team that can put together a scare into Alabama more than most SEC teams. To beat Alabama these days, you have to be capable of scoring at least 40 points. Clemson did it before in a national championship game, but they had to score a lot of points. Trevor Lawrence did it. Sean Watson did it. But most people don't score 40 points against Alabama. When you think about it, a damn other team can do that, but not against this Alabama team. It's not going to happen. They're probably, in my opinion, going to lose by 3 touchdowns. I think Alabama's just that good. When you think about it, a lot of people are thinking about Anthony Richardson. They want to see him have more snaps than he's been getting. But it's torn apart. At the end of the day, when you think about it, whether it's Richardson or Emory Jones, this Florida offense is not capable of keeping up. It's that touchdown Bryce Young out of Santa Ana Mater Dei. Think about what happens to him. He's a run-pass option. A lot like Cam Newton. Get that, NFL owners, coaches? But I think Alabama's defense is just too strong. You saw how they just took apart the Miami Hurricanes. Miami's the same kind of talent that Florida has. They recruit from the same areas. And they just had no answer for Alabama. I think you're going to see, if this gets off to a slow start, it might help Florida. But I see Alabama getting over 40. I really don't see Florida getting over 20 points. I'm like at 42-17, somewhere in there, 42-18. 42-17 sounds more like it against that Alabama defense. I just don't see them giving it more than 3 touchdowns. Maybe 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. For you prop bettors, all spread level war. Now, there's another big game in the great Northeast, Big Ten versus SEC. Number 22 Auburn. They play at number 10 Penn State in Happy Valley. May not be too happy for those Eagles. Are they the Eagles or the Tigers? The Auburn Tigers, but their mascot is an eagle. Maybe they got the COVID shot also. All fair level. They don't know what they are after all the libations they have down there. But it's a game I'm looking forward to. Coach Franklin's already said he's not interested in leaving, coming to the USC to get that job. So he said no. When you think about it, an offense averaging 61 points per game. Bo Nix completes 74% of his passes against small competition, though. This team at Penn State is a different breed of cat. Get it? Nittany Lion? Speaking of cat, eagle, tigers, this segment sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all this exotic meat. Last I heard, an eagle, a tiger, and a lion, they're all exotic meats, if that makes sense to you. The exotic meat king. I'm telling you something, but Bo Nix has been much better at home than on the road. He's completed 63% of his passes at home. That's pretty good. 7.7 yards per attempt, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception. However, on the road, as the great Lee Corso says, not so fast, my friend. On the road, it drops to 54% of his passes. And that Penn State defense is legit. 10 interceptions. I'm thinking about it. This good old boy is going to be in deep. They're going to have the whiteout in Happy Valley. Crowd over 100,000. It's going to be a tough environment for Auburn. The SEC versus Big Ten, we'll see. And so Penn State, in my opinion, they can pick up another impressive win because they also took care of Wisconsin. Nittany Lions will be out with a big battle. I'm thinking they'll score probably 30 points at home. Auburn may get 21. I'm going to give Auburn 3 touchdowns in this game, but Penn State's going to get 4 touchdowns and a field goal. That's my opinion. All's fair in love and war. We'll see what happens in that game. I want to cover a couple more games. Michigan State is going to be at Miami. Now, Miami, after being shellacked by Alabama, they said they're still number 24 in the country. Miami said, what? 24? They were down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. But they have them ranked at 24 in the country. There are times when you get a bet because your number's going to show up, like winning the lottery, Powerball, or was it Mega Million? What are those things I won on Friday night? I had a dream about it. But there are times when you get a game and you bet it based on a well-established principle, like who can run the ball the best. Michigan State, I don't even know how to pick this game. Miami deserves to be favored by nearly a touchdown against Michigan State. But think about it. They breezed past Appalachian State last week. It doesn't need a late field goal to avert disaster. Michigan State has looked solid on both sides of the ball through 2 weeks. The competition has not been as fierce, but it's more about how solid the Spartans have looked. I don't think the market is really going to pick this game right. It's looking like a field goal game to me. I just think if you think about you want to get your groove on, I don't know how to pick this game because Miami, they underachieve. But they're at Miami. But it's not going to be a sold-out crowd. If they get 40,000 in that stadium, at Hard Rock Stadium, I'd be surprised if they go over 40. Now, Tulsa, this is a big game for the Big Ten, Ohio State. Tulsa, the Golden Hurricanes. Those good boys lost to UC Davis. UC Davis Aggies of Northern California, Division II program, to start the season. They're at number 9 Ohio State. I'm still going to put Ohio State in the National Post have them number 9. They lost to Oregon when they were I think they had a number 3 or 4 in the country. I'm going to still put Ohio State around number 5. Talk about the wrong place at the wrong time. If you're Tulsa facing Ohio State, they say you got to be nuts to play a Buckeye. A Buckeye is a nut. We all know that's fair in the Southern War. But they have a tough task catching the Buckeyes a week after they got run over by the Oregon Ducks. Quack, 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 quack. You know what goes good with the Big C Burger? It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? Some nuts. Have a bowl of nuts. You ever eat a bowl of nuts, anybody? They're going nuts for football in Ohio. All fair, another word. But I think Ryan Day, he's going to show that this team is back. It should be one of those, take out the trash kind of games. Ohio State most likely will go over 50 points in this game. Touchdown, Ohio State! 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 That's probably what you're going to hear from the broadcasters. If Tulsa got beat by UC Davis, they'll get slaughtered by Ohio State. All fair in level war. Here's another big game. Minnesota at Colorado. Big Ten versus Pac-10. Colorado really outperformed Texas A&M. which is the top 10 program out of the SEC. They lost in the last 3 minutes of the game because prop bettors can't cover an open receiver in the end zone. Really? All's fair in love and war. We're 2 weeks into the season. Colorado has one of the best rush defenses in football. The Buffaloes only allowed 2.5 yards per carry and have a defensive success rate of 83% against the run, where the team is tied for third nationally with San Diego State. A great turnaround. Darrell's doing a great job up there at Colorado. Will they get a win over Minnesota? They're at home. They should. This team is a lot better than they were last year. I'm going to go with Colorado to get the win in this one. Might be a close one, maybe 28-24. Minnesota ranks 26th nationally in rushing from 9 QBs since the start of the 2020 season. If they're going to try to control the clock. But the Colorado Buffaloes, they shut down Northern Colorado in the opener. Then last week they limited Texas A&M's ground attack that had lost Hayes King had an injury early, so we understand that. The Colorado defense has to load the box and force backup Zach Calzada to beat them. I like Colorado. They're a better team overall, and we'll see what happens. Nevada's going to be on the road at Kansas State. Kansas State knocked off Stanford, and that Stanford came back and beat USC, cost Clay Helton his job. I like Nevada out of the Mountain West Conference. We'll see what happens in that game. And I'm going to give Nevada like 28-21, somewhere in there over Kansas State. Last game I'm going to pick up Nebraska at Oklahoma. When you think about it, this used to be a marquee must-watch TV. And now it's just a game where the Oklahoma Sooners, we got touchdown Oklahoma, touchdown Oklahoma, touchdown Oklahoma. I said touchdown Oklahoma. That's what we're going to hear in that game. It's all fair level word. Enjoy college football. It's a special game in a special place. We'll take the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. In words of the great honest words digger, I'll be back. All right, we are back with the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports all around the universe on 17 podcast applications and 4 TV applications. Really appreciate that. Go to superdraftpro.com/Big C Sports. And you can find out more about the betting and the gaming industry. Is all fair and level war. This last segment in Major League Baseball is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all these exotic meats. I understand the exotic meats. The girls love the long ball, men love the hit deep. All fair and level war. We fly into Baltimore, and we have the New York Yankees flying into town. And what a scene in Baltimore. Should be a close game. I don't give out scores, but we have a beautiful game set for Major League Baseball September the 16th, 2021. We go into Baltimore. We have runners on first and second. The count's full. The pitch swung on a hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair and level war. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. If they can just get a bunt, get on base just as well. It's more fun to hit deep. All fair level war. Cole Sulser on the mound pitching for the good old boy Orioles. And then pay attention at bat, Giancarlo Stanton. That's what my prop betting friends say. I can tell you, and that's all I'm going to tell you. Can't tell you much more than that. I'm going to fly out of Baltimore, fly into Philadelphia. The Chicago Cubs come to town from the Windy City, and we have runners on first and third. The count's full. The pitch swung on and hit deep. Left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. Nobody likes to bunt anymore. It's either hit deep or go home, if that makes sense to you. But on the mound pitching, Hector Neris, keep that good old boy in mind. Also at bat, Frank Swindle, as well as Rafael Ortega. I can't say much about what they did because I want to have my fingers tomorrow for the show. All fair level war. Gonna fly out of Philadelphia, otherwise known as the city of you suck, man. Oh, I'm sorry, city of brotherly love. My producer had the wrong, he queued the wrong take. Wait, I am the producer. It's all fair level war. Gonna fly into beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida. And the good old boys from Detroit, Motown, flying into town. We have runners on first and second. The count's full. The pitch swung on, hit deep. Left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. All fair level war. If you want to know who says, say hello to my little friends, that's Tony Montana, played by the great Al Pacino in the movie called Scarface. You don't want him saying, say hello to my little friends. Bad things happen when that happens. Good things happen in baseball. So, Tampa, These good old boys in the driver's seat. Pitching. Keep in mind, coming in from Detroit, Tyler Alexander. And then pay attention at bat is Brandon Lowe. And then Nelson Cruz. Those are two names I can give you from my prop betting friends. They won't let me tell you much more than that. Gonna fly out of Tampa. Gonna fly into Texas at DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. And Houston takes the bus over. And they have all these freaking flashlights going off from their dugout. What the world are these flashlights? Maybe they're taking selfies. You know how a lot of girls and boys take selfies and put them on the internets? What did President Bush say? The internets? They put selfies on the internets. And some people actually get paid for it. I mean, there's some sites out there you get paid for it for taking pictures of yourself, all fair in Leavenworth. War. Not the kind of Brett Favre took. I mean, maybe so. Who knows? All fair in Leavenworth. War. It's free enterprise. During COVID, a lot of people had to be creative, if that makes sense to you. We have the good boy Texans hosting Houston. We have runners on first and third. We have the counts for the pitch. Swung on, hit deep. Left field. That ball's hit a mile. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. All fair in Leavenworth. Pitching is Luis Garcia. That's a good old boy's name to listen for your prop bettors. At bat, Nick Solak, as well as Willie Calhoun. And those are the only names I can give you from my prop betting friends that they know Sam Jackson. They know the Wolf from Pulp Fiction. I don't want them coming looking for me. They can have their hamburgers. They're free. The hamburgers are free. It's all fair in Leavenworth. And again, that's a great game. Keep in mind it's all fair in Leavenworth. I'm going to fly out of the city of Texas, Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Arlington actually, and going to fly into Pittsburgh, beautiful PNC Park. The Cincinnati Reds come to town. Should be a great game. Can't give you out any scores. On the mound, Taylor Mahale. And then also Cody Ponce for Pittsburgh. Keep in mind, this game is supposed to be a pitcher's delight, if that makes sense to you. And speaking of pitcher's delight, this segment is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? All spread up and warm. Gonna fly out of Pittsburgh into Chicago. The White Sox. You know, Shohei Ohtani, I guess something's up with his hitching his giddy up on his throwing arm. So I don't know if that's gonna put him on the mend for the rest of the year, but it's still bad. We'll see what happens. I'll get more news on that. Chicago White Sox, the great Tony La Russa, he uses no-dos so he can rest his brain. But that good boy knows how to manage. But not so fast, my friend. When the Angels come to town, it's all fair and level war. We got runners on first and third. That counts for the pitch. Swung on, hit deep. Left field, back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. All fair and level war. On the mound for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Alex Cobb. On the mound for the home team, Chicago White Sox, Ronaldo Lopez. That's all I can give you for the prop betting, guys, because I want to keep all my fingers, if that makes sense to you. I'm going to fly out of the city of Chicago, going to fly into Kansas City, Missouri, Kauffman Stadium. The Oakland A's are in town. The Elephants. Speaking of elephants, this segment sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, drum roll please, what's all this exotic meat? All front level war. The Oakland A's, man, they've been having a little bit of turbulence lately. We'll see if they can get right when they go back and play the game in Kansas City. We have runners on first and third. The counts for the pitch. Swung on and hit deep. Left field, back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. The pitching for the Oakland A's, pay attention to the name, Paul Blackburn. Not Paul Sunburn, but similar. Paul Blackburn. And then also Daniel Lynch for the Kansas City Royals. All fair in Leavenworth. And I'm going to go into Atlanta, going to fly out of Kansas City, going to fly into Atlanta. But I'm hearing that game has been postponed down in Atlanta. Maybe some weather issues down there in that beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm going to come back, and I'm going to fly up north, out to the West Coast, from Atlanta to the beautiful city of San Francisco. I left my heart. You can cheer in San Francisco. Enough of your singing, Corey. Just give me some stats. Give me the scores, man. So it's all fair in Leavenworth. The San Francisco Giants, their first place, best record of Major League Baseball. The Padres are in town. The Padres had them last night. They got over when they came to San Francisco. They said, I left my heart in San Francisco. But the San Francisco don't want people leaving their hearts. If that makes sense. I want my World Series tickets. The Padres are playing a little bit better. Can't give out scores. I can only tell you that Nabil Krasmet, pay attention to him as a pitcher, and then Kevin Gossman for the Giants. I won't give out much more than that, but they might be a little bit happier down in St. Vincent Ravine. It's all fair and level war. I love what I'm doing on Big C Sports Podcast. I love everybody who has supported Big C Sports Podcast over the years as we're growing all over the country. You can cheer for that too. In fact, growing all over the world, 17 podcast platforms. Started with Salem Media, only had one podcast platform. We even brought Monday Night Football to Salem Media. They started doing Monday Night Football on Salem Media after the Big C team showed up. As I always bring in hit deep, right field, back to the wall. Let's get ready to rumble. I love rumbling. Big C Sports Podcast. Tell a friend, SP nominated Big C Sports Podcast. And you say, why? You don't have no producer? You have no teleprompter? You got no research crew? I do it all myself, guys. No scripts, no teleprompters, no producer. People say, that's obvious, Charles. It's all fair, love, and war. Okay, you do it. Have anyone on TV or radio do what I'm doing. I also thank Malcolm and Daisy for everything they've done and Big C with the stats over the years. But I love doing my show. It helps me breathe better. Number one, I produce. Number two, I direct all the shows, every single one of them. Number three, I broadcast the shows. I do all of it. Number four, I do all the sound effects. Everything's good. It's all good. If it don't work out, I blame my producer. Wait a minute, that's me. All fair enough. The buck stops here, and I mean it. I do all the commercials. Excuse me, did I break your concentration? The great Sam Jackson and Pulp Fiction. I also do all the storytelling. Here's Johnny. You all saw The Shining. All fair and love and war. I do the play-by-play. Touchdown, home run, three-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. Now he's going all the way down to Las Vegas because the Raiders left town. The Raiders left town. They gave him $2 billion. You probably leave down, dude. I upload every show to 17 podcast platforms and 4 TV podcast platforms. I quote the book. I always pay homage to God in every show. And I love Genesis 13:15. It says, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. I love that. In the book of James 4, verse 2, college kids, listen up. We have not because we ask not. So ask. Don't worry about asking somebody, can you have something? Be your own boss. When the money comes in, that $10 million, you get it. There's a lot of funding called Title VII for African Americans. You got to know about it. A $15 billion platform for podcasting and TV and radio. And most of it's owned by white corporations. And a lot of black men will work for them instead of having your own show and you get the money. Just Google Title VII. It was signed to the Civil Rights Act. People don't even know about it. They're so busy working for other people. All fair and level war. That $10 million on the way. I thank Adidas also for sponsoring Big C Sports. I've been asking Phil Knight for $10 million. Adidas doing the advertising. All fair and level war. I love what I do. I thank my mama. I thank Pop. I thank Muddeer, Hezekiah. I thank my mama. Wonderful, started a Head Start program in California. My father, Edward, former Air Force fighter pilot and mechanic. Albert Curry, my grandfather, and Alberta Curry. He was a pastor and also earned service stations. Did a lot of good things for people. I thank everybody in the universe. I love my family. I love them all, and I love you. Every Monday to Friday, I always tell you, back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, man, what's all this exotic meats? You've got to fight in 3 hours. He said, float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? As my beautiful mama always says, there's never, ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that crap, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day with all this exotic meats. Everybody everybody needs an arc in their life. Everybody needs an arc. Thank you, Noah, for all those exotic meats. Noah and those exotic meats. How many hamburgers did he eat?